And having in mind that this is the New York City Anarchist Book Fair, so we have also to address these amazing people that that wants to change the world, suggesting new forms of political change. So Noam, could you take this last minutes to address some words to the revolutionaries and and all these people that wants to change the world, please?
Well, revolutionaries, if they want to succeed, rather than to produce nice words that make them feel comfortable, have to take into account the realities of the situation. You can't, we live in this world, may not like it, but we do. And we have to face the characteristics of this world. In this world, to deal with the environmental crisis, we're going to have to work within basically existing institutions. You look at the time scale for possible large-scale systemic change, revolutionary change, compare that with the time scale that's necessary to overcome the crisis, the existential crisis of whether we will manage even to survive. They're not in sync. The long-term problem is far beyond the immediate problem of overcoming what may be tipping points at which we have lost the hope of maintaining human society. It's unfortunate, but it's true. That doesn't mean that you abandon efforts to lead to lay the basis for much more substantial social change. Of course you do. You do it both by education and by creation of alternative institutions. I mentioned the MST in Brazil. It's the beginnings of what could be alternative institutions. Same in the United States. Go to, take, say, the old Rust Belt in the United States, deindustrialized under neoliberal globalization for the purpose of corporate profit. A lot of people haven't given up. They're forming worker-managed enterprises which find their place in the growing service economy. Well, those are elements of what might be a revolutionary change in American society, which working people control their own institutions, others control their own communities. That's the way revolutionary change takes place, by building systematically, slowly. At the same time, we have an urgent crisis that has to be overcome. No way of escaping that fact. So it's not the first time this problem has arisen in human history by any means, but it's the most urgent one that's ever arisen. And you've got to have, I mean, the younger people are just facing a question that has never arisen before. It is their responsibility to determine whether human society will survive in any organized form or will simply crumble and disappear. No way of avoiding that question. It's a terrible responsibility. It's an exciting challenge, and it just has to be met.
Sonia, então a gente está nos últimos minutos.
So, Sonia, we are in our last minutes, and we also would like to listen from you. We cannot keep using this partidary way of organizing people, the actions, the political projects in the country. The parties, they reproduce this old way of thinking and prioritizing also the participation. We, we have a democracy that does not embrace that, and the parties, they reproduce this old practices of electing always the same ones, and we saw that this did not work. We should have more indigenous people, more black people, more women, more young people in these spaces, in the legislative assembly, in the national congress, for example, and also in the management of the government. And we use the parties nowadays because this is the way that we have to occupy the system. But if we could participate in an electoral dispute to occupy the spaces from our movement, it would be the ideal world. I think nowadays, this way of the collective candidates with the collective parties, it's a way of promote this change. But it's still being very little because these collective mandates, they are not acknowledged by our electoral law. And people, they're there just there pretending. I think we cannot think about the diversity of the pretension and a diversity of pretension. We need to be there directly working. We indigenous people, we solved to launch the repopulate politics, trying to promote now and starting this change. And we have indigenous in this picture of democracy that we believe, that we really want. If we want to go to the parties, participating in chains, doing what everybody had already done, nothing's going to be changed. So I don't want to be there, the parties, to be chained, to be tied to them. We need to be free to do our projects, the projects that we believe, and to call society to build together with us. And if we can participate, I think in this first moment, electing this representative that had never had the opportunity occupying the institutionality, we are bringing now this possibility, this opportunity of people not only thinking my hat beautiful, not only willing, not only wanting a picture with my earrings, but in fact believing in trusting and voting in indigenous people to populate the National Congress, to populate the politics. We need to have this presence, but to have them, it is needed people to be together with us. If you are participating now, if you are together, you need not only to find, to think it's interesting and find cool what we do with our way of life to protect the life in the planet, but we need to occupy all the spaces being with power and decision. We need to keep thinking that we need to change behaviors and consumption ways. If we do not have people that are occupying this decision space to promote, to bring this perspective. So it's now, now is the time to retake the power, time to retake Brazil. That's what we are talking about. It's the time for us to occupy the power, not only the power by the power, but for us to be able to have this opportunity of calling people for this new awareness of political, global, ecological that the world needs. So we indigenous people, we took this initiative understanding that this is urgent. It is urgent to listen to the signals, to the mother earth. It is urgent for the indigenous to be able to take part of the public debate. We count on you all, we count on everybody to be with us. So we believe that we are not only harvest what we are planting today, but we are thinking also in acting right now to assure the future of next generations.
For all of us and for me, such a great pleasure to spend this hour and a half listening you and talking to you and Sonia. This conversation, this dialogue between you and Sonia certainly will stay in our minds and will give us hope and make us act in order to change the world we live in. So I finished right now. Adriana would like to address these final words to our audience.
Eu acho que assim, agora é a hora meio de articular, né? Assim, eu fico
Yes, I
pensando,
think now it's time to articulate. I end up thinking, especially in the old times, now how can we structure this structure? And because I keep thinking, if is this the way to go to the Congress, to the politics? But I understand that the indigenous, they tried left, right parties, everything was attacked. So we need to have our own voice, especially women that are the most attacked, I think, in the whole world, the indigenous women. So I think this is the maximum priority because it's a strategic issue of entering and really changing it. Now, especially this relation between the colony and imperialism and how we articulate. We keep thinking and articulating and trying. Thank you very much, Noam. Thank you very much, Sonia. Thank you very much, Vera. It was a great pleasure. I hope this is only the beginning of many articulations. And Sonia is very smart in articulating. I think this is one more field for us to keep articulating, right?
It was really a pleasure to hear and to host as well.
então, Sonia e Noah.
Okay, so Sonia, your voice to finish, and Noah, you too. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Bye bye.